Have you ever looked at your calendar and thought, I literally do not know how I'm going to keep doing this, but I can't stop either? That is the space where burnout and the body collide. And it's where today's conversation with Leann Herron begins. Leann spent over a decade in the legal field, and she was pushing through panic, brain fog, and this constant hum of just kind of holding on and keeping it together. She then had a case that just hit way too close to home, and her body finally gave out. And through that experience and through therapy, rest, and eventually a new career helping women, is a reminder that we all need that you cannot outthink what your body is trying to heal. So if you've been white knuckling your way through the work, telling yourself, shit, other therapists seem fine, I should be fine too, then join us for this conversation with Leann, because she and I both know that what happens when your body finally gets your attention can feel outright terrifying. And it can also be the first real moment of honesty, the moment that asks, what if I don't have to keep doing it this way? Oh, and before we begin, I'm Dr. Jenny Hughes, trauma psychologist and founder of the Brave Trauma Therapist Collective, where I help trauma therapists be human again by learning how to manage vicarious trauma and connect to vicarious resilience through community and real connection. So take a breath with me. And let's drop into this conversation with Leann about what can happen when you start listening to what your body's been trying to tell you all along. I am so excited to be talking with you today, Leann. For everyone watching, this is Leann Herron. She's a certified life and holistic health coach and a transformation coach for women. And she and I got to meet through some mutual kind of business networking and had a call, I don't know, a couple weeks ago just to get to know each other. And Leann shared with me her journey of going from working in the legal field to now being a holistic health coach and what it was like for her to go through that work herself, to have to do that transformation internally, and now how she really is channeling that in the work that she does for all of the clients that she serves. So Leann, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today. Is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know right now?
No, that was such a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much, Jenny. I'm so glad that we got to connect and get to know each other. And I look forward to any future work that we do together and collaborating. I just really enjoy the stuff that you do.
Oh, thank you, Leanne. I appreciate that. Um, where do you want to start in talking about your journey, especially in the past 5 or so years?
That's been about where my journey began, about 2019. I was working in a large law firm. I had been in the legal field for 13 years. So it was during COVID. They weren't allowing us to work from home. So we had that extra level of stress and anxiety of just going to work every day. And then we accepted a bunch of cases because other law firms had closed their doors. And so it was, very all hands on deck. You have to get up to date really, really fast. There's no delay from the courts to allow you to get familiar with cases.
Mhm.
And one of the cases that we received happened to be a personal trauma trigger for me. And I didn't know what this was. I knew that the case itself was very close to home, just reading the case summary. But all of a sudden it started to affect everything. I had brain fog and memory loss and anxiety and hypervigilance and panic and like all these crazy things that I had never ever experienced
Yeah.
before. I think I had spent a lifetime of pushing those things down and thinking, oh, I'm resilient. I can have all these things going on in my life and still be able to function, raise my children, have a full time job, take care of a home. But
Well,
what I
because you
didn't,
were able to do that for a long time, in trauma work, we often use this metaphor of with with so many things, but especially with trauma, we work really hard to avoid it and to avoid anything that reminds us of it. And it can end up being like pushing this beach ball under the water. You talked about pushing it down, and you can keep doing that for a while, but eventually you're going to get tired and that beach ball is going to come up and smack you in the face.
Yeah. And I just really had no concept or knowledge of how the body hangs on to trauma, and that this stuff was like percolating under the level, and until it all came out at one time.
Yeah.
And it became so overwhelming that I wasn't able to function in my job. The brain fog was so severe. I was questioning if I was doing my daily tasks. I could do them on autopilot, but if I moved away from what I was doing and somebody asked me something about a case, I couldn't even answer. I was just
Hmm.
like, let me get back to you. And it just became so bad that I feared that I could really do damage to a client.
Yeah.
Even though I was doing the work and my work was perfectly on point, I just didn't feel it in myself. I had lost my confidence. And it became too much. Eventually, I resigned. Actually resigned 3 times. The first time, I let them guilt me into going back. The second time, I guilted myself. And then the third time, I just said, this is enough. I need to take care of myself.
Yep.
And I was blessed with the financial ability to take a year off to really focus on my health and my mental health, and started seeing a therapist and started working with alternative medicine practitioners. And over time and over focus and care, things started to improve. But then I hit a point where I had to decide, what was I going to do with the rest of my life?
Yeah.
Was I going to return to law, or was I going to find a career of purpose?
Hmm.
And so that's kind of what got me here. I enrolled in
Career
school to,
purpose. That's just such a powerful framing of what you do. Tell us more about that.
so I enrolled in school and got my certification as a life and holistic health coach. Under that umbrella, I can work in a lot of different areas. I can help people with their money, spirituality, their relationships, their careers. And, if they want to start a new business, I can help them do the things to start a new business. So, you know, I want to say that it's all the things that I've been through in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I've went through divorce. I went through bankruptcy. I have become an entrepreneur. I have created a profitable business. So all these things are areas that I can help people. But over time, I really decided to pick a niche area, where I could really put all my energy into what I was drawn to, which is working with Gen X women
Mm.
who have spent their whole lives taking care of everyone else and not taking time to take care of themselves, or thinking that they should, or giving themselves permission to, without feeling guilty or full of shame. And so, I think that's what got me where I was I hit overwhelm
Yeah.
and hit the wall, and I hadn't been taking care of myself for the
Yep.
first 45 years of my life.
So what's it like now to know that you are taking care of yourself?
It is such a dramatic change because I get to put myself first in
Hmm.
my choices. I get to spend time doing the things that bring me joy. And it's such a shift in feeling like I have this full cup that is overflowing, and that overflow I can give to others, versus the empty cup with the little bit of grounds at the bottom of the cup, where I was always struggling but still felt this need to take care of everybody else
Yeah.
first.
Yep.
So those are the biggest changes, is just feeling alive and happy and joyful and excited about what I do for a living, and excited to show up every day.
Yeah, I know that so many people listening are wanting and needing that for themselves too. What do you want them to know about this work, especially if they're hearing you and saying, "God, how do I get that?"
You know, the biggest thing is that it's all possible for all of us. We all just have to remember that we can choose to change our trajectory in life, and that there is so many things that are available to us at our fingertips that we didn't used to have that availability. Now we can get on the internet and we can learn about other healing modalities. So I learned about things like meditation. I had never meditated before. I never thought I could. I thought my mind was too busy and always going and taking care of so many things that I didn't have time for silence. I didn't have the ability to control my thoughts.
Mm.
And at the time, I didn't, but I learned
Yeah.
how to. And I learned using YouTube.
Yeah.
I found somebody that I resonated with that had programs that I could watch videos from never having meditated before to having a daily meditative practice and what that meant for me. And for me, that was learning that I had control to change my future.
Wow.
And then from there, I just started learning other healing modalities from other alternative medicine practitioners like sound healing and hypnotherapy and Reiki and somatic healing. All these, I had never even heard some of these words, much
Right.
less knew what they could do to help calm my nervous system and bring me joy.
Hmm. So what's it like for you to now do this work with the people that you serve?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I get to help women who just have spent their whole life taking care of others and don't know where to start and don't know that they should, and giving somebody that permission to take care of themselves and help them understand you can still be that person. You can still take care of everyone and still love what you're doing, but you're doing it from a different place inside of you.
Yeah.
You're listening to your body, you're recharging, you're filling yourself up with all these things that just make you a happier, healthier person. And so it's okay to have that life and still take care of others, but there's a huge change when you're doing it from a different place within yourself, when you're learning to listen.
And you also have taken so much of that work that you've done for yourself now with others. And you told me that you have really been very intentional in protecting your energy as you do this work. It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like it's probably pretty similar to a lot of the things that you're doing with your clients. But what does that look like for you in the work with your clients? How are you protecting your energy so you can keep doing the work that you love?
I think it's a lot even other therapists, other coaches, other healing practitioners, I think we all have to make sure that we are kind of protecting our energy so that we're not absorbing what our clients, what our patients, what they're experiencing. So for me, I kind of have a practice before I go into any coaching sessions. So I, love to ground myself, and that may be stepping outside barefoot, walking in my grass, talking to my plants, just protecting my energy field, but leaving it open enough to where I can hold space and be witness for what my clients are going through without absorbing all of their energy.
Yeah, I love that you are making that very explicit because a lot of times, at least, for therapists in their training, they're told to figure out how to leave work at work, right? How to make sure you're not impacted by the things that your clients are working on. When in reality, like you just said, we have to make sure that these energy pathways are open because it's through empathic engagement that we're able to help anyone that we are serving. And yes, that means that we are susceptible to vicarious trauma. And it also means that we are open to vicarious resilience because those are two sides of the same coin. And so we can't completely shut ourselves off, nor is that really realistic. And if and when we're trying to do that, it's cutting us off from all of the beautiful things we get to experience in our work as helpers and healers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I used to, do it from more of like a metaphysical side, like protect myself with white light and all those warm, fuzzy things. I have a lot of crystals in my space, but just for my own benefit, I really think starting with grounding before I sit down in a session, and then I can be fully present and I
Mhm.
can remind myself of my role, and keep those pathways as open as possible. Because I don't
Yep.
want to be disconnected, be so protected that I'm disconnected from my client.
Right, exactly. And we're human and we need to be able to transition between our roles. And so, whatever those rituals are, those routines, it's so important for us to figure them out for ourselves and to learn from people like you and the work that you're doing and that you're sharing with the world because it's great to have new ideas about being able to get outside. It doesn't have to just be within the four walls of our office, for example, and to think really outside of the box of how can we protect our energy and transition between all the roles that we play in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot out there that I think, you can make your own.
Yeah. So tell us more about where people can find you, how they can reach out, how they can work with you.
Oh, thank you so much. So I have a website. My website is Finding Resilience with Leann. On there, I have all my information about my different coaching packages that I offer. I have a blog. I do have a podcast. My podcast is called Happiness on Tap, where I bring in entrepreneurs and health and wellness practitioners so that, the people who helped me when I was having my trauma issues, I can share what they do with the greater world outside of just our local community, even though the people that I was working with at the time were all local to me and I could go and meet with them. But now I have the ability through my podcast to share what they do so that either people can learn more about the modality or look and see if they also do things virtually as well, because I know my hypnotherapist does. And so that has been something that's been very powerful for me as kind of a referral source for my clients. So when we're talking about holistic healthcare and different things that they can do, that is a way for me to, instead of handing somebody a business card or telling them to go look somebody up, I can send them to the podcast and they can see who they are face to
Mhm.
face. They can see if they're going to resonate with them. And so many people listen to podcasts so they can listen to it on the go when they're out and about. It's not something you have to be tied to a computer when you need to be doing other things. So you can listen to it while you're doing the dishes. You can listen to it while you're out running errands with your kids. So that's just another way that I can utilize the information that has helped me to help others.
It's such an act of service because finding a provider, no matter what kind of specialist you're looking for, feels so overwhelming, right? And especially you can see all these things on someone's website or read reviews if they're available, but being able to experience them interacting with another human like you're doing on your podcast, it goes above and beyond anything else. And so I'm so glad that you're putting that out into the world and giving people the opportunity to experience all of these incredible helpers, healers, people that are going to really make a difference.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's the, second favorite part of my day. I love working
Yeah,
with my clients, but I absolutely love connecting with people all over the world, learning their stories and sharing about the amazing things that they do in this world.
totally. Well, we will be sure to link to your website and also to your podcast in the description here to make it easy for folks to go learn more and to immediately start listening to all of the episodes that you have out already.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate you inviting me to be on your show.
Thank you so much for coming. And I can't wait for next steps. I get to be on your podcast next.
You sure do. I'm looking forward to that conversation and sharing what you do because I was just so intrigued and so moved by what you do in the world.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Me too.